Kamu nagpaminaw sa BYAR 765 SMNI Radio Cebu, kapartner mo sa balita o serbisyo.
Serbisyong kapartner ng bayan. Kapartner ng bayan. Ania ang tulumanong mo paila sa lain-laing ahensya, organisasyon, personalidad o individual nga andamugahin sa ilang serbisyong kapartner ng bayan. Atong sayron ang mataglaka nga nabuhat na ug angay pang buhaton alang sa ikauswag sa matag komunidad ug sa nasud sa kinatibuk-an. Serbisyong kapartner ng bayan. Ania na ang atong kapartner nga makauban karon.
Americares just completed a 3-day emergency medical team training here in Cebu. And this training is participated by 92 participants coming from various countries including India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and of course the Philippines and USA. So those are the countries that were represented in this 3-day training. So this is part of Americares humanitarian program, because one of the things that we do when there is a major disaster around the world is to send an emergency medical team. So we are training the doctors, nurses, medical technologists, pharmacists, and other professionals in this training so that they can be deployed anytime when there is a major disaster. So this training is for the Asia region, which includes the Philippines and the countries we just mentioned. So we just completed the training today, and we're happy that it was a very successful one. So we just have the theoretical part here in Holiday Inn. Then we have the practical simulation and field exercise in Carmen, Cebu. So we just came from Carmen this afternoon. So that's a short background about the training. So Prabhash.
Thank you, Paul, and pleasure to be with everyone. I'm Pravash Budden, Americares Deputy Senior Vice President for Humanitarian Programs. And as Paul explained, we have used this week to do an emergency medical training. But for some of your audience to know a little bit more about Americares, we're a global health organization that has been active since 1979, providing disaster response, health assistance, and longer-term health programming in over 91 countries around the world. We really pride ourselves on being able to send medicine and medical supplies to every corner of the globe where people need health assistance and where there's gaps in health services and the medicines and medical supplies. And over our 45 plus years, we've been able to send over $22 billion worth of medicine and medical supplies, and mostly to vulnerable populations, those that fall through the cracks during disasters or live in places where there's fragile health systems. And so it's important for us to make sure that people have access to health care. For us, health is a human right, and we want to make sure that we have a continuous process of providing emergency health services to be able to provide longer-term health services and allow communities that have suffered from disasters or conflict a pathway for recovery and resilience. So the work that we've been doing this week to have our teams learn more about our specific emergency medical teams is part and parcel of a wider range of services and approaches that Americares has globally to ensure that people have the right access to healthcare at the right times. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So the floor is now open for questions from friends, from everyone. Who would like to ask first?
Good evening, sirs. Good evening, madams. Again, sir, I would like you to elucidate more on why the Philippines have been chosen by Americares to set up I think this is a mobile emergency medical team set up. Of course, why, and then how long, or will you be expanding the program to have a fixed medical emergency medical team training center here in the Philippines?
Thank you for the question. Philippines is a country that's very special to us at Americares. One, because we have a very strong country team here in the Philippines, headquartered in Manila, with staff in other parts of the country as well. And because the Philippines is a country that uniquely faces a significant burden of natural disasters, we are very committed to making sure that our country team in the Philippines is well prepared to respond to those emergencies. And in addition to our country team in the Philippines responding, Americares is a global organization, so we are supporting our Philippines colleagues in those responses as well. And something that was unique about our emergency medical team training that we conducted over the last few days is that we are preparing for a response that will require colleagues from multiple countries to be working together. And so what we anticipate is that at some time in the future, if our Philippines colleagues are responding either within the Philippines or locally in the region, it will not be a Philippines-only response. It will be an Americares response where we bring in roster members and full-time staff from places like the United States and South Asia and Indonesia and other countries around the world. We also have roster members in South America and Africa, all over the world. So we can bring all of those resources to a country like Philippines if we are responding here for a major disaster. And the Philippines team has been enormously supportive and has so much experience from responding in their own country, in that when we are conducting a training here, it's not just the staff coming from other countries training the Philippine staff, it's equally the Philippine staff training us. And that's what makes this so unique. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Meg from Freeman. So, in terms of what standards does Americares use in selecting members of its emergency medical team?
At Americares, we maintain a global roster of right now around 850 subject matter experts who are trained in Americares emergency response programming, and they are among the first to deploy following a humanitarian crisis. When recruiting for our roster members, we have strict criteria. We have about 20 roles. They can be for clinical roles such as physicians, nurses, mental health professionals, or non-clinical roles such as WASH, logistics, and operations. For our clinical roles, it is Dr. Prabhu and Dr. Lane, who would be interviewing and reviewing the criteria to select them. And then when it comes to a response to deploy an EMT, we look through our really qualified roster of these subject matter experts and see where are they located, if we have all of their documentation and training completed. And that's why these type of training, this EMT training, is really important so that we have these roster members already prepared and positioned in the locations where they could be deployed.
Before we proceed, we have two more friends who just came in. They're also from Freeman. You know, Freeman is the biggest newspaper here in Cebu, and it has the widest readership. So that's why they need to send 3 people to come up with a big story from Americares was just done, completed a very important event. So from Freeman, we have Jose Luis Flores and Chainly Templo. So,
Yeah, thanks. Just to add on to what Shannon
Yeah,
said,
please.
in the Philippines, we have more than 100 roster members, and we have members from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So it allows us to respond immediately when there's a major disaster in any part of the Philippines. So when there was an earthquake in Mindanao, we mobilized right away the ERTs who are based in Mindanao and also from the Visayas because they are near Mindanao. So when there's a super typhoon in Cagayan and Isabela, so we have also our emergency response team members there. So it allows us to deploy people and achieve our mission of helping people in times of disaster to access help. So this emergency medical team training here in Cebu, we have 40 participants coming from our emergency response roster from Luzon, from Visayas, and also from Mindanao. So this is part of capacity building training for the emergency response roster. And we have doctors, nurses, and other health professionals. So mainly, they should be licensed professionals. So in the Philippines, we require doctors to be licensed, nurses to be licensed. So that's part of the criteria. And of course, they should have some experience already, dealing with patients during major disasters, or they have to undergo also a basic orientation for all our emergency response volunteers. So that's part of the things that we look into the potential emergency response volunteers.
Thank you. Okay, Jim.
Jimrey from SM9 News. Can you walk us through the key activities or modules including the training? How did the 2 event simulations exercises help enhance participant readiness?
Okay. Good evening. So we will walk you through the modules that we had. So of course we had during the day one we had our technical and training of our participants. So we had the World Health Organization EMT overview. Also we had the EMT operations overview and roster networking, and we had some getting to know each other at the roster, especially the roster came from other countries. So after that, we had the logistics warehouse and pharmacy operations, safety and security, water sanitation and hygiene, mental health and psychosocial support, safe and accountable programming. Then after that, in day 2, so that's we had the going through or the walkthrough of our clinic. So the participants had feel of what it is to set up really of what an EMT is. So because here in the Philippines we had a mobile medical unit, so some concepts may be same with the EMT setup, but for the Philippines, some of the setup of the clinic might be different. So we had that walkthrough as well with the other participants. And then after that, we had a breakout session. So the clinical team and the base camp team, so they had a walkthrough of how to use the medical equipment, the medical supplies that we usually use for an EMT. So that's again the standard of the WHO. And then for this day today, so we had a time to have cases, simulation exercises. So we had this patient cases for the clinical team, and of course for the operation. So we had also cases on how to do operational basis during the EMT.
Thank you.
Follow-up question. Considering the Philippines' exposure to disasters, what unique experiences or expertise did Americares share with international participants?
As Dr. Ellen mentioned, we had training that focused on both clinical and non-clinical aspects. And when an emergency medical team deploys to an area that's affected by a disaster, it's not just the patient care that we have to focus on. We also have to focus on communications, so setting up a satellite internet system, fuel and electricity, how we can be self-sufficient when the local infrastructure has been damaged, because we have to supply electricity for our medical equipment and to be able to deliver care safely to our patients. And also, in addition to that, the water and sanitation component of producing clean water for our patients and for our staff, maintaining toilets and latrines, managing waste, both medical waste and human waste. All of these are things that the emergency medical team is required to be self-sufficient in managing per the World Health Organization or WHO guidelines. Americares is one of a handful of organizations across the world that have been verified by the World Health Organization as being qualified emergency medical team. In the United States, there's only 4 nonprofit or NGO organizations that are qualified as an EMT, and there's other organizations around the world, but it's still a very selective group of organizations that have qualified to be able to perform that way. And we were able to demonstrate that we are meeting all of those qualifications, and we trained our roster members and staff from various countries on how to meet those standards in the field.
Thank you.
In addition, for the Philippine side, so some of our staff have been trained already on mental health and psychosocial support. So there are also speakers during the training, and they were also facilitating some of the activities, including the WASH. So for WASH, we have the water filtration system, which we mobilized during the Cebu earthquake and also during the Typhoon Tino response. So our experiences and trained personnel were also sharing their knowledge and expertise to other roster members coming from other countries.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ian from Philippine Information Agency 7. For my question, how does Americares coordinate with the Philippine government, like DOH, OCD, and the RRMC on disaster response?
So for this training, we actually have the Department of Health, Health Emergency Management Bureau as also part of the participants and observer for this EMT training. So we have also participants from this region, so the Vicente Soto Medical Center, one of their staff have been involved in this training as well. Department of Health is also having their emergency medical team. So one of the things they wanted to see in this training is how can DOH also improve their own system. So that's why we have observers coming from the Department of Health. And in actual deployments, we cooperate with the Department of Health, for the assessment and response activities during our humanitarian response. So we are part also of the group called PINGON, Philippine International NGO Network, and we work as well with the other NGOs during humanitarian activities. Apart from our coordination with local government units, including the Provincial Health Office and the Rural Health Units. So we work together with mostly with the local governments and the Department of Health during our response activities.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So my question is, what impact does Americares hope this training will have on communities during emergencies or disasters?
Yeah. So Americares has not only the EMT training, but again, all other health services globally. And the impacts that we want to have are a trained cadre or all the roster members who have the skills, the experience, understand the standards that Dr. Prabhu had went over so that they are prepared and ready to respond to a disaster using the EMT mechanism. Now, one of the things that we see is that even though disasters strike, we're not always deploying EMTs. This past year in 2005, the Philippines had seen 6, 7 different disasters, from volcanoes to earthquakes, lots of typhoons. But EMTs weren't deployed. A lot of mobile medical units had been deployed, other types of health services. But even when our Philippines team is using a mobile medical unit, we still want our teams to understand and use the same type of quality standards that they're getting trained on through these type of workshops and training sessions that we do through the EMT. So the EMT really provides this guideline and a North Star of high quality standards that can be used across the board when we're providing health services during times of disaster. So the impact we'd like to see is an elevated level of more and more health professionals and providers that understand quality healthcare and can capitalize on the resources that Americares provides, the training that we do, and connect up, as Paul said, with the Department of Health officials and scale out services. We're not here to replicate or duplicate what the government of the Philippines has, the Department of Health, but we know that during times of crisis, public health services are stressed, and we can provide an assistance to ensure that there's continuity of care and life-saving measures that are in place to support communities throughout the Philippines.
Thank you.
Good evening, Elizabeth from the Freeman. Are there plans to conduct more EMT trainings or similar programs in the Philippines?
It's a great question. For Americares EMT, we do try to host an EMT training annually. Previously, this has been conducted only at our HQ headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. And this is the first time we've had a regional EMT training in partnership with our Philippines country office to focus on the whole Southeast Asia region. As Paul detailed earlier, we have 7 different countries represented here. And our EMT trainings will also continue with our other country offices located in the Latin America and Caribbean region. That said, here in the Philippines, we'll always continue working on a wide portfolio of trainings. The Philippines country office hosts a lot of trainings for their roster every year, and some of them do include our EMT and medical mobile unit topics, as well as a whole bunch of other topics. I don't know, Clarina, if you'd like to detail some of your other trainings too.
So every year, good evening everyone. So every year we recruit new
emergency response team. So we conduct trainings for them. So aside from the EMT, we also train them about the mental health and psychosocial support, the WASH, and the other logistics, operations, and other activities that Americares been doing, especially when we deploy our ERTs.
Hello, Jonathan Cabello from the ULA. Just question about, I'm talking about the medical equipments and emergency equipments. What do you think in the Philippines or in Cebu City, the government should focus on to fund or modernize those equipments, medical and emergency equipments? Which do you think our government should fund more in modernizing our equipments?
Yeah, in the Philippines, we have a climate and disaster resilience program. And one of the things that we do is to equip rural health units.
And of course, mga partners, no, mao na atong napaminawan na special episode nato sa Serbisyong Kapartner ng Bayan karong hapuna, no, sa atong episode mga partners, og ato lang i-recap, no, ang atong napaminawan ganina si Dr. Maria Virginia Abalos, ang medical officer sa Chongwa Hospital, Mandawi. Gisgutan ang mga partners, no, kining menopause, no, or menopausal stage sa atong kababayenan. Og at the same time, no, ang mga issue sab sa mga women and children's naka-usab nato, mamat nato, napaminaw nato si Chief Chief, no, sa Women's and Children's Protection Desk sa Cebu Police Provincial Office, mga partners. Wala lang si Police Lieutenant Richel Tisoro, mga partners. Og syempre, kita nagpasalamat sa atong mga tigpaminawan. Salamat kayo sa pagkuban kanako sa another episode na productive episode sa atong programang Serbisyong Kapartner ng Bayan. Kinihigalang Kapartner Jimrey Biosa, atong sunod na episode, mga partners. Diyos manalangin ka natin.
So they need to improve their capacity to deliver the health services, no? So including, for example, nebulizers, or if somebody has an asthma attack, then we need to have these nebulizers with them. So there are many other equipment that we provide, including minor surgery sets, no? So when there are major disasters, you need these sets to provide services to those who had trauma, no, from the disaster. So all of this we provide based on assessment. So our staff would go there and assess what are the needs of these health units, and based on their needs, then we provide some support. So there are many things that's needed by the various health centers. Some have more, some have less needs. Americares focuses on 4 to 6 class municipalities based on the health equity concept that we have to provide more to those who have none. So there are priorities that we set, you know, for our various programs, including climate and disaster resilience. And in our emergency medical team for the Americares Philippines, so we just acquired through this training new equipments that will be able to provide service, including Dr. Ellen, you can enumerate them.
Okay, so since the EMT requires us to be self-sufficient, so since in times of disaster, local government units, especially the health facilities, may not be able to give us may not be able to give us the medical supplies, the medical equipment that we have. So the MMU or the mobile medical unit or the EMT should be self-sufficient. So what we did was we collaborated with the HQ team. So what are the available supplies that are at par with the HQ or with the EMT or EMT standards? So Dr. Prabhu and the rest of the team help us to acquire supplies that are available here in the Philippines. And surprisingly, about 90% of the equipment we're here in the Philippines. So it's nice to have this collaboration with HQ to allow us to know what are the equipment or what are the medical supplies that we have. So for example, for our cold chain, so here in the Philippines, for our medical team, so we don't really have a cold chain. So the HQ team are able to give us like alternatives for the cold chain. So especially we need that for vaccinations during our responses. And for the medical supplies and equipment, so we have a oxygen concentrator. So usually what we usually do is that we have the oxygen tanks, which are very hard to carry. So we have this oxygen concentrator should the oxygen tanks be not available in times of disaster.
We also have portable ECG.
Yes, I saw it.
So it's not available, especially in the rural area. So when the CMT will be deployed, so we have now our portable ECG. So that's one of the things we can do. And then defibrillator, so it's not also readily available in the
And I think
rural
so
areas.
you have a portable ultrasound and of course the amazing water infiltration.
Yes.
Okay. Of course the tents. Because I was with them this morning and the other day. My next question is, aside from the Philippines, which other countries Americares is present and providing services? And my other question is, I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, that Americares was the first one, was one of the first nonprofit group which extended help to Yolanda areas, affected areas, and I think you're one of the biggest donor. So can you please update us if your services is a long-term one, or you have stopped providing services to the Yolanda affected families? That's those two questions.
Thank you, Pam.
I can answer a few of them. I'll turn the Yolanda question over to Paul and Lorena at the end. But Americares, since 1979, has worked in nearly 100 countries around the world. And most of the countries are those that are deeply affected by natural disasters, conflict, or where health systems don't reach everyone with quality care. We also work in the United States, and what's important for Americares is partnership. It's at the core of what we do across the globe, and over the decades we have worked with over 4,000 partners in healthcare. And these partners include everything from a small rural health clinic in Tanzania all the way to ministry level collaboration like we see in the Philippines, and all points in between. We work a lot with health NGOs and health centers that are providing direct care. One of the things that we have done is also keep a lower footprint of operations across the globe. Many of you may be familiar with lots of large international non-profit groups that have offices all across the globe in 80, 90, 100 countries with physical offices. One of the things that we find is that over time that can get expensive. And the type of work that we do to support and build capacity for our healthcare partners doesn't require that type of operations, but rather a lighter footprint. However, there are countries where we do work. The Philippines is one of them. We work in Colombia, El Salvador, Puerto Rico, Tanzania, Liberia, and in India. And those countries over the past several decades have set up physical offices because of the nature of the work or funding opportunities or building off emergency responses that have had continued health program presence. But for us, it's important that we continue providing services on almost on an annual basis around 91 different countries, and much of that is done through our medicine and medical supplies, our gift in kind programming, in which we're able to send out pharmaceuticals and medical supplies to partners globally so that they can use them in their programs and their operations. And then there's times where we do work directly through our country programs with clinical services and other health services to meet the needs of communities that require the most support.
Maukadto ang tulumanong serbisyong kapartner ng bayan. Ubani kami ninyo sa sunod na higayon. Matag Lunes hangtod Biyernes sa susamang oras, 1:00 hangtod 2:00 hapon. Dinhi lamang sa DYAR 765 SMNA Radio Cebu.
Kamu nagpaminaw sa BYAR 765 SMNI Radio Cebu, kapartner mo sa balita o serbisyo.